Are we on the brink of a Mideastern nuclear arms race or another Israeli-Iranian war? What if I told you that just days after a blistering IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency report exposes Iran's nuclear stockpile ballooning to nearly 50 times the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action caps, over 440 kilograms of enriched to near bomb grade 60% purity uranium, a restarted nuclear weapons program, and a stonewalled inspectors at the bombed out sites effort. France is thrusting itself into the fray, hosting Tehran's defiant foreign minister, FM, Abbas Araghchi, in Paris on November the 26th, just tomorrow, for explosive talks on IAEA compliance, trapped French hostages, a detained Iranian student, and regional chaos where Iran crows that Netanyahu's atrocities have crowned Israel as the main enemy. Yeah, that's what's going down. And France seems to agree with this main enemy being Israel. Wow. Yes, that's real. Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot confirmed the Wednesday showdown coming up tomorrow, demanding swift IAEA cooperation amid UN snapback sanctions choking Iran's economy as Araghchi dismisses U.S. demands as illogical and signals no rush for talks with the United States, potentially igniting a fresh escalation in the shadow of June's devastating war that offed thousands and wrecked billions in nuclear infrastructure. This isn't diplomatic foreplay. It's collaborated by IAEA reports, UN resolutions, French ministry statements, Al Jazeera interviews, Reuters wires, and ISW, which is the Institute for the Study of War analysis. No hype, just the radioactive reality. Hello, swivelheads. This is Greg Allison of Green Gregs. And what we've cross-checked with the IAEA documents, Reuters exclusives, Al Jazeera transcripts, ISW updates, AFP dispatches, and UN press releases is what's following. Buckle up, because this isn't a courtesy call. This is a pattern of desperate European solo acts in the JCPOAs, I may call it JOC I don't know, radioactive graveyard, with implications for global non-proliferation meltdowns, Israeli preemptive strikes, oil price apocalypse, and a terrifying spirit to the Mideast nuke race from Tehran to Riyadh. We're talking other nations now be wanting nukes, yes. So we're going to look at 9 main points here, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up with some analysis real quick. Anyway, point 1, the Paris powwow. Araghchi lands November 26th for bilateral brawl. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot, he dropped a bombshell just the day before yesterday. Iran's Abbas Araghchi arrives Wednesday for a wide-ranging talks on nuclear defiance, bilateral ties between France and Iran, regional infernos, and detainee swaps. Iran's foreign minister spokesman, which is not the foreign minister, the spokesman of the foreign minister, Ismail Bagheri, he confirmed this, expanding the agenda to an Iranian student nabbed in France last week, potentially on sanctions busting or spy charges, turning the meet into a high-tension hostage negotiation. Point 2, nuclear nightmare unleashed. IAEA exposes 50 times stockpile surge and weapons revival. Indeed, Iran's enriched uranium hoard is nearly 50 times the JCPOA limits, with 440.9 kg at 60% purity as of June, enough for multiple bombs if pushed to 90%. Breakout time? A chilling 1 to 2 weeks for one device's worth if they are getting back into the enrichment program. The ISW's November 19th analysis, which just came out, confirms that Iran has restarted its nuclear weapons research program, collaborating 2024 assessments of covert bomb pursuits and amid undeclared materials and blocked IAEA probes. This flies in the face of claims by Iran that they are not restarting their nuclear enrichment program. Point 3. Iran's defiant roar. Not in a hurry as U.S. demands get torched. Aragachi's Al Jazeera salvo claims Tehran is open to dialogue but shreds U.S. preconditions. Direct talks, zero enrichment, missile muzzles, proxy pullbacks, and illogical, as he cast all these as illogical and unfair. Insist on equal footing. Yeah, like they didn't get whipped. Equal footing and, and mutual respect, while IAEA slams Iran's non-compliance, including no verification at war damage sites like Fordo. What about Iran's new pickaxe facility buried much deeper underground, where it is believed that they moved their centrifuges and are likely to have located their missing enriched uranium there too? Remember, I am the only person anywhere in the media, as far as I know, who has pointed out that if the centrifuges had been hit at Fordo, as the administration claimed, that extremely toxic uranium hexafluoride would have been released that would have made the subsequent operations at the site that we've seen, with people crawling around all over the place without wearing special protective, personal protective suits, absolutely impossible. You got to remember, I've shown this in previous videos. I've shown the people operating bulldozers and earth moving equipment. I've shown you where they actually went to the edge of the bomb holes and put up little tape, barrier tape, just so I guess the machine operators wouldn't drive over into the hole accidentally. So they didn't know where the hole's at. But people were out there walking around doing things that they couldn't have done had uranium hexafluoride been released. I've talked about that. I have not heard anybody else talk about it. Maybe somebody done, maybe somebody has, but I have not heard it. I released that to you guys, and I've told you how toxic that stuff is. It's got the radioactivity. It's got the fluoride. It is bad, highly reactive. It is nasty, nasty. You couldn't be out there operating if those centrifuges were in those holes and got blown up the way we were told it happened. So that's why you come here. There's some things you only get here because I am an engineer and I understand these things. I bring this understanding to you so that you can really understand what's going on. And I hope that's helpful. Anyway, there's a UN board resolution on the 20th of November that demanded answers and access passed overwhelmingly, despite Tehran's howls. But what are they doing? Nothing. Point 4, hostage hell. French duo embassy bound Iranian student snagged. Okay. So Paris hammers for the return of 2 French nationals released on the 3rd of November under Islamic clemency, but they're trapped in the Tehran's French embassy, unable to flee. Part of Iran's alleged hostage playbook that ensnared dozens of Westerners. The flip side, Iran's push to free a student detained in France, details murky, but murky details on this. We don't know. But it is fueling accusations of reciprocal leverage and a shadowy detainee dance. Point 5, regional reckon. Aragachi's Netanyahu war criminal rant, which apparently has been picked up by France. Iran's foreign minister gloats over shifting sands. Netanyahu's air atrocities have provided Israel is proved to, this is what Aragachi says, is proved Israel is the main enemy, bolstering Tehran's proxies like Hezbollah, armed with 150,000 missiles, plus apparently it's still the case, even though Hezbollah has been hammered hard by Israel, and that's probably why they're still hammering them to this day, which has a lot of people scratching their heads. And the Houthis, which are still disrupting Red Sea shipping. Anyway, this amid Iran's support for Hamas post October 7, 2023, and ongoing Syria-Iraq militia operations, with Tehran claiming regional unity against Tel Aviv. I guess Aragachi hasn't heard of the Abraham Accords. He could just ask Donald Trump. Yeah. Point 6, June 2025. Armageddon, Israeli strikes U.S. bombs, and over 1,000 people pushing daisies as a result. Recap the carnage here. Sixth round indirect U.S.-Iran talks cratered on 13 June 25 after Israeli jets pummeled Iranian nuclear sites, sparking a 12-day bloodbath terminating over 1,000 Iranians, wounding thousands, and torching billions in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan infrastructure. A lot of damage was done. I just say they didn't get the centrifuges or the prize enriched materials. U.S. retaliation bombed the same trio, forcing a brittle ceasefire. But IAEA warns damaged facilities remain uninspected, hiding potential covert rebuilds, like in the deeply buried Pickaxe facility, which is basically next door to Fordow, making movement of equipment easy. Remember all those huge trucks that we saw from the satellite photographs at Fordow just prior to the bombing? Oh no, they weren't there for anything other than just a parade. Yeah, right. And point 7, the JCPOA's radioactive corpse, Trump's 2018 exit to snapback hell. So the 2015 deal capped nukes for sanctions relief. Trump's pullout unleashed maximum pressure, prompting Iran's 2019 breaches. Now, there are or were over 10,000 advanced centrifuges spinning. Biden's revival, well, that flops. UN snapback was the result in September 2025, and we're now looking at reinstating that on global bans, slashing Iran's oil exports to 50%, spiking inflation in Iran to 40%, and costing Iran over $200 billion yearly in lost revenues. That would be $200 billion, what it is in Iranian currency. But so, point 8, France's gambit, E3 power play amid U.S. void. As the JCPOA co-signer, France leads the E3 with Germany, UK, and IAEA pressure. Back in the 20 November resolution for answers and access, Barrat's the foreign minister of France, solo outreach tests European leverage, sans U.S. muscle, potentially pinching phase sanctions, easing for the IAEA transparency. But risk alienating Israel, which vows no Iranian bomb on our watch. So just expect that these things can end in a bang. Anyway, point 9. This is the last of my points before we kind of wrap this up. Doomsday risk, breakout spirit, proxy, apocalypse, and global fallout. Unchecked, Iran's nuclear program could yield a bomb in months. Solutions: IAEA monitor de-enrichment, missile talks, proxy de-escalation. And if you got a failure, Well, Israeli strikes redux. Houthi Red Sea chaos already costing over 10 billion in shipping reroutes going around the Horn of Africa. Or Saudi Turkish nuke pursuits. Oh yeah, economic earthquakes. Oil surges to $150 a barrel on tensions, hammering global markets. This is what matters to you guys. This won't just affect the Mid East. This can take us all in. Not to mention that we may all get involved in these conflicts. Security take. Now, when France summons Iran's FM amid uranium avalanche to 50 times the limits and whispered weapon restarts, it's not negotiations. It's nuclear roulette in a proxy popped powder keg. Tehran's not hurried sneer veils sanctions agony. But evading IAEA invites preemptive hellfire from our buddies in Israel, brushing off missiles and proxies perpetuates an endless bleed of war. Truth test. Uh, Peaceful power or Armageddon arsenal. Fumbled diplomacy detonates from Gulf choke points to uranium shadows, engulfing the world in fallout, and perhaps more than one way. If Iran gets nukes, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt will want them too. They have all said as much. A Mideastern nuclear arms race can't ensue. A region of hot, volatile tempers with many fingers on the big red button can put us all at risk for Armageddon. The alternative, if no working agreement is found, maybe an even bigger Iranian-Israel war could be unleashed, and possibly dragging the United States in once again. Would Europe get involved? What's France up to? But there's a power play going on here too. France, France has got kind of a failed wannabe empire. They want to be the big kahuna once again, and they can't even keep their people. They've been kicked out of Africa just recently, so they're smarting a little bit in this regard. But they do have growing influence in Europe because Germany is waning in power. German demographics is not good. Their industrial output is shrinking. So what we can look for in Europe, UK is not strong. UK military is weak. So France on an ascendancy. France is talking about protecting Europe with their nuclear umbrella. France is clearly trying to supplant the United States. Now, maybe we should just get the heck out of it. I've always been for that, and let Europe handle their own business. Still, it's France. France is look. Go back to the Cold War days with Russia, the Soviet Union back in the day. When it comes to NATO, France was in, France was out, France got back again. France was so flippy floppy and sometimes pro Russia that when I was in the army, we used to have a joke. And the old saying for when the war starts was the balloon goes up. So the old question was, what do you do when the balloon goes up in Europe? And the answer was you turn around and bang bang on the Frenchman, and then you go attack Russia. Why the Frenchman first? Because he was at your back and you didn't know what he was going to do. That was actually what we were saying when I was in the Army at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So that was the popular joke at the time. Nobody in the military trusted the French. And the French really want to be their own. They still look down their bonny noses of indignation at Americans, who they call cowboys, even though we saved their cojones twice, World War One and especially World War Two. If it wasn't for the United States, there would be no France as we know it. So they would be goose stepping to and saluting whoever the Führer is at this point in time, most likely. So you think they would be grateful for us. The Frenchmen up around Normandy are, because they're descendants of Vikings. They're not like the rest of the French. But overall, they look down their nose at us. They want to establish their own empire and their own new sphere of influence. They see themselves as being over Europe. Maybe one day they will be, but they don't seem to be doing very well at minding their own house with the immigration issues they got. France may implode. So, they're not, nobody in Europe is looking good right now. The European countries have put themselves at great risk trying to follow the dictates of the House of Klaus. So, where are they going? I don't know. Is it our business? Shouldn't be. We should let Europe handle Europe, my humble opinion, and get the heck out. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. But now Iran. Iran is getting this because they're desperate. Iran has a major desperation right now because they lost a war. The strength and facade of the Ayatollah regime has been cracked. The citizens there are not happy with the jackboot on their necks, and they protested it many times. A lot of the protesters have been put in the ground and are now pushing daisies as a result after the 12-day war. So things are not looking good there at all. But Tehran has run out of water, the capital city. They're moving the capital city. Tehran is under great stress. Iran is under great stress. It may tempt Israel actually to hit them right now. You kick them when they're down kind of adage, which Israel seems to be real happy to comply with. Now, I'm not justifying Israel here or Iran. What I'm telling you is that the stakes are high. Iran is probably like a wild creature backed into a corner, which means it may be willing to strike. They would certainly would before they went down. So there is a tremendous risk in the area. Like I said, we got a lot of other countries that may just want to go nuclear fast as a result of all these things. Saudi Arabia has already negotiated having some protection under the Pakistani bomb program, but Pakistan is unstable themselves, and I don't think Saudi Arabia will be content with that if Iran gets the bombs. So we could have many, many fingers on nuclear triggers in a hot, volatile region of the world, or else a major war, or maybe both as a result of all this, or all, and maybe a war afterwards. Guys, we are in uncharted territory in a very dangerous region. It can pull the whole world into Armageddon. Armageddon was placed in the Mideast, wasn't it? And biblically speaking. So uh, it all comes down to asking the ultimate question. Are you prepared? Are you ready? Do you have your ducks in a row? What can you do? Make sure you're stocked up because on any of these war scenarios, it's likely that we'll have sleeper cells acting here in the United States and our grid is likely to go down. At the lightest case, you'll see oil spot prices spike, the supply chains disrupted. There's going to be mayhem any way you slice it. If any of these outcomes are something other than successful, happy negotiations that actually work. And right now, there are no signs of that. Show me that these things are working out. Nobody wants to play that ball. They don't want to agree with each other. They want to go their separate ways, which leads to a bad situation. That's why you need to be prepared. So, in closing, if you seek unflinching plunges into atomic abysses, share and follow this for more. Subscribe, bang the bell, and click all. Click right here to watch another one of my videos. So stay watchful, stay strategic, stay secure. Eyes wide open and head on a swivel, my friends, because you don't know what's coming at you. This is Greg Allison. The fission fissures are widening, and the detonation clock is ticking louder than ever. So, with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and Greg out.